evening, everybody, and welcome back to Dialogue here on JCN. I'm your host, Etoile Pinder, and I'm so happy because I have another repeat guest on the show now, Mr. John Cox. And I was saying earlier to Dylan and Deedee, I didn't know I was calling you founder, president, and CEO, but so whatever your official title is here at Pop-Up.
Right. Slave.
Slave. That sounds much more realistic about what you actually are.
Right. Pop-Up slave.
So, and I hope all of our viewers already do know, but tell me a little bit about how long Pop-Up has been opened and sort of why you started it in the first place.
Right. Well, Pop-Up Studios opened in 1999.
Wow, has it really been that long already?
Yeah, it's been a little while. So it was originally it was started. I built it as a studio for me to work.
Okay.
But there were other artists, some colleagues of mine who kind of had the same kind of thinking. That the work that we were producing was not necessarily fitting into the kind of mold of what I guess was expected as Bahamian art. And so I thought it was a great opportunity to create a platform for artists that were kind of thinking outside the box at the time. For us to work. So it was kind of an organic formation. We did exhibitions, we taught classes, we did everything over in the original studio across the garden.
Which is where we just worked?
Yeah. So we did everything there for a while, and then in 2008, we got the opportunity to come to the big house.
The big house, then.
Right.
And this is, I think, when I first came and did maybe my first taping with you was around then.
Right. So that's when we officially kind of expanded the name to Pop-Up Studio Center for the Visual Arts, and we expanded the agenda. Right. So what we did is we went from having a single space that had to be all things to all people to having a kind of more multi-functional kind of infrastructure. So we had a 12-month out of the year gallery space that could be committed fully. We have artist studios. We have a community of locally kind of derived artists, some expats, also some Bahamians, and that community kind of fluctuates between 10 and 12 people.
Right, and I mean, it's always amazing whenever I've come here that you do have, and they've got all their little spaces upstairs, they've got all their own little studios, and you've got jewelry makers, you've got painters, you've got screen printers, you've got anything and everything.
Right, so we have 10 people. I mean, some people, like we have Kendall Hanna, Katrina Cartwright, Heino Schmid, Dylan Deedee, obviously.
You've got to have the largest age range as well, then, as a result, too.
Yeah, we had a pretty broad scope, right, yeah. And then, so we have the functioning gallery. Then we also have the kind of local artists community. Then we have the big thing is we have a residency program, which is twofold. We have an international component where artists are coming from basically all over the world, and that's been pretty much running consistently since we moved to the big house in 2008. And then we also recently just started a local residency program called the Pop-Up Junior Residency Prize.
This is the one with the Dialogue-Foundation.
Right, and this is the Dialogue Foundation has come in and really supported us with that. We select 3 artists that are under 25 years old, and we give them a studio for 3 to 4 months, depending upon some details. Give them money to buy materials. They get to do an artist retreat in Abaco at Schooner Bay, and then we also take them to Brooklyn. Yeah, we take them to Brooklyn to Williamsburg for 10 days, and that's really awesome because they get to do all the Manhattan gallery hopping and museum hopping, so that's excellent. And then I think by through their example of support, we have a few other people who have stepped up to the plate. Antonius Roberts is also doing a residency program for a single artist, but he's approached us to facilitate that. So this whole thing, I guess, from here into the future, Pop-Up really is trying to focus on 2 things. The big umbrella is education, but trying to redefine what education is, redefine what school is. And we kind of see 2 clear paths to achieving that goal. One is to facilitate a dynamic residency program, both local and international, because it creates conversation, it creates real-time problem solving and real-time exchanges with people that sometimes we plan, sometimes are totally organic, but the results are much more kind of rewarding than kind of this like rote curriculum that repeats itself over and over again. So to do the residencies both internationally and locally is one driving force. And the second driving force is to create an exhibition campaign that is maybe a little slower than the kind of regular commercial gallery pace, that focuses on really exposing the community and young and old students to experimental and kind of new media processes in art. And so we want to have a slightly less, we want to have less shows in a year. We want to, in 2 years, we want to get to a place where we're having possibly 4 to 5 exhibitions in a year.
Okay.
And we slow them down because we really want to engage the schools to come. So
to be able to come, and I was just actually asking Dylan and Deedee about this, about getting our students in and seeing all the options available.
I think so, because we have a few good art teachers now that really support us and come through and everything, but we're trying to encourage more schools to kind of step up.
If you're a teacher, call them up, talk to them, bring your students in.
Yeah, exactly. So we can do that. Then we also want to make our electronic presence more of an educational resource as well. So we want to employ, they could be COB students who are doing their bachelor's in art education. Yeah. We want to employ students or current teachers to write lesson plans that are inspired by the exhibitions. Right?
Fantastic.
So write lesson plans about process, write lesson plans about content, write lesson plans about, social, kind of related issues that connect to the exhibitions.
Incorporate them so
incorporate them and give them write kind of base lesson plans that then K through 12 can adapt in the classroom, and they can also use it as a visual reference center so they can come to the space, get information on the artists that are exhibiting. Also, all of the exhibitions will be thoroughly archived, and we want to have digital cataloging of every exhibition. So
I was just talking about how, for me it's wonderful that now you can go, whether it's the National Gallery in London or the Louvre or whatever, you can go online to their websites and you can do these virtual tours through them. And it's so great for me as a Bahamian to be able to go and see theirs, but it's so great if you guys can digitally catalog them so that, and actually make them available. So students actually in Paris or wherever they are able to see what's going on in Bahamian art. It'd be fantastic.
Because I think it engages dialogue.
Yes.
And dialogue is, to me, like the root of education.
Dialogue is the root of education.
It is, right.
Okay, but all of this sounds incredible, but I know it takes money.
Right.
So tell me, I know you guys have an event coming up that if you want to, I'd love for you to talk about, because these really are the things, you know how big I am on education and sort of ensuring that all of our students are getting equal access to these sorts of things that 15, 20 years ago were what really only higher end students were able to go and see these sorts of exhibits. What are you guys doing, and how are you going to raise some more money?
Right. We have this event coming up called Sketch 24, which is a neat idea that we want to kind of present, and hopefully it'll be an annual thing. It's basically a 24-hour drawing challenge. So what we're going to have is an event where we ask artists and a group of people, mostly artists, to donate, to give their time and talent to us for 24 hours.
Perfect.
Okay, so essentially what's going to happen is we're going to have, it's going to be like a drawing session. Like when in art school you have a 2-hour session and there's a model and you draw the model, or there's a still life where you're drawing from your imagination or whatever. But we have broken down a 24-hour period of time that will go.
Oh, okay, so this is different people for different hours.
Oh yeah, so no one has to sit there for 24 hours.
That's going to take a lot of caffeine for me to stay right there driving.
Right. No, so it's going to be, so we have 24 hours sections of 12 2-hour segments, right? We start at 3 p.m. and we go all through the night until 3 p.m. the next day. And we have models sitting to be drawn, people drawing still life, people drawing out of their imagination. One of our artists upstairs is a photographer that's going to set something up where we can draw with light. These like long exposure kind of things, so you draw in the air. And then we can create the prints and whatever. So we're asking all of the participants, they would be the artists and people possibly who would like to be models. We're paying the models, by the way.
Okay.
So to come in, and we want each session to maybe have between 10 to 12 people. So
and when is this going on?
This is going to happen on the 29th of April, I think. It's going to be, I need to check. I need to edit this. We don't know exactly what it is. It's going to start on the 29th and move until the 30th.
Okay, so if you're interested in donating, whatever it is, call up Pop-Up. What's your phone number?
Our phone number is 322-7834.
Or you have a website?
We have a website. You can go to popupstudios.com.
And if I was going to email you?
You could email us at popupstudios@gmail.com.
Perfect. And you can always, again, email me, bahamasdialogue@gmail.com, because I love this. Sketch 24?
Sketch 24.
Perfect. And
It's
of course,
gonna be awesome.
I'm sure they're willing to also just receive donations
We
of
are.
financial type,
Yeah,
you know.
absolutely.
If you can't donate your time, whatever it happens to be, please, they are doing incredible things with improving education here in the Bahamas. Deedee and Dylan are May 13th.
Right, Peep
Peep
Show. Right.
Anything else?
Just quickly, we want to be kind of transparent. The first fundraiser is actually in aid of the residency program.
Perfect.
With a residency program, you need to have a proper dining facility, and we are trying to renovate the kitchen. With all the artists, people living here, we need to be above par.
Yeah.
And so we need to create a situation where we can yield people and have.
And especially if you're bringing in international artists.
Yeah, and people are living here all the
Yeah.
time. That we just need to upgrade that system. It helps us facilitate our programs as well as possible rental programs, because we have wonderful grounds here for other things to take place. Poetry, theater.
Makes you financially sustainable in
Right,
the future
in the
if you get
future.
this
So we
out
just
of the
need to
way.
create this infrastructural move
Yes.
because this is the root of one of the key things for the future.
And it really is an incredible facility. If you're thinking about doing some sort of function, I would also contact them because the grounds are beautiful. The building is just one of these great old Bahamian houses. So you have all their contacts. Email me, bahamasdialogue@gmail.com, or check out my Facebook page, facebook.com/bahamasdialogue. John, thank you for spending your very, very busy time with me.
Thank you.
And everybody, have a great evening.
Food is a very serious thing. Talking food is a crying shame. Talking food, it will taste your blood. For talking food will leave you lying in the mud. Harry talking food, shame in the game in the head. He breaks you to bush crying, oh Lord, I got there.